Hi, I'm Erica Christensen. Since I was a kid, I've always loved chemistry. I'd mix things in the kitchen, trying to create my own experiments. It drove my mom crazy, but I was hooked. After high school, I studied chemical engineering at university and later got a job at a pharmaceutical company developing new medicines. I loved the work. It felt good knowing I was helping save lives. 3 years ago, I met Isaac at a party hosted by a mutual friend. He was tall, with sandy blonde hair and a smile that could light up a room. We hit it off immediately. "Hey, I'm Isaac," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Erica. Nice to meet you," I replied, shaking it. We talked the entire night, and before long, we were dating. Isaac was charming, always knew the right thing to say, and made me feel special. After 3 years together, we decided to get married. Our wedding was small, with just close friends and family. Afterward, I moved into Isaac's family home, where his mother, Aran, also lived. Aran wasn't in good health, and Isaac took care of her. I wanted to help, but it was all new to me. "Isaac, have you thought about maybe getting her into a care facility? They could give her the medical attention she needs," I suggested gently. Isaac looked uncomfortable. "I don't know. Mom's always wanted to stay here. She's comfortable at home." "Yeah, but she needs more care than we can provide. Just think about it." "Okay," I said, hoping he'd consider it. The next day, Isaac's sister Brittany came over. Brittany was always tense and full of complaints. She'd recently lost her older husband, who had left her a sizable inheritance. We didn't get along. "What's this I hear about putting Mom in a home?" Brittany snapped as soon as she walked in. "I just mentioned it as an option," Isaac replied, trying to diffuse the tension. I stayed calm. "Brittany, it's only an idea. I thought it might be best for Iran's care." "Well, it's not happening. Mom will stay here until the end," Brittany said, glaring at me. I decided to drop the subject. Brittany was still mourning, and I didn't want to make things harder for her. But dealing with her wasn't easy. She had a habit of showing up unannounced and making everything more complicated. She made it clear she didn't like me. One evening, while I was cooking a simple chicken and vegetable dish, Brittany walked into the kitchen without knocking, as usual. "Erica, you're cooking again," she said, wrinkling her nose. Mom liked her food with real flavor, not this bland stuff. "Good evening to you too, Brittany," I said, trying to keep calm. "I'm doing my best with what we have." "Well, it's not enough. Maybe try harder," she snapped. I bit my tongue, unwilling to argue. Isaac walked in, sensing the tension. "What's going on here?" he asked, looking between us. "Your wife thinks bland chicken is good enough for Mom," Brittany huffed before storming out. Isaac turned to me, visibly frustrated. "Erica, can't you just try to get along with her? She's been through a lot." "I'm trying, Isaac, but she's always criticizing me." "Nothing I do is ever good enough," I said, feeling the strain. Over the next few days, Brittany's visits became more frequent, and each time she found something new to criticize. One evening, she stormed in again. "This place is a mess. Don't you ever clean?" she said, looking around with disdain. "I clean every day, Brittany. Maybe if you helped, it wouldn't be so hard to keep up," I snapped, finally losing my patience. "How dare you talk to me like that?" "I'm just trying to help," she yelled back. "Help? By criticizing everything I do. That's not helping, Brittany." I shot back. "Erica, calm down," Isaac said, stepping between us. "Calm down. She's constantly attacking me, and I'm supposed to just take it," I said, my frustration boiling over. Brittany stormed out, and while I felt relieved, the tension lingered. She continued to breeze in, criticize me, and leave without helping. I started avoiding being home when she visited. It was easier that way. 8 months later, Iran's health took a turn for the worse, and she passed away. It was a difficult time for everyone, especially Isaac. At the funeral, Brittany made things worse. At the graveside, she turned to me, her face twisted with anger. "Erica, if you found the right medicine, Mom might still be here." I was stunned. "Brittany, I'm not a doctor. I did everything I could." "Excuses," she snapped, her words cutting deep. After the funeral, I told Isaac, "You need to talk to Brittany. She can't keep blaming me for everything." "Erica, you're just making things worse." "Stop provoking her," he said sharply. His words felt like a slap. I couldn't believe he thought I was the problem after everything I'd done. Months later, I decided to clean out Iran's old room, hoping it would help me move on. While sorting through her belongings, I found a stack of medical documents. One report from 4 years ago showed Erin had been in excellent health. Yet she had recently died from internal bleeding. It didn't make sense. When Isaac got home, I showed him the documents. 4 years ago, your mom was fine. Then she dies of internal bleeding. And didn't Brittany's husband die of the same thing? I asked, my heart racing. Isaac frowned. Yeah, internal bleeding. And they both had unexplained bruises. Bruises like that can happen if someone's taking blood thinners. But neither of them were on any, right? No, they weren't, he said, his face pale. Erica, what are you saying? I don't know yet, I replied, dread creeping in. But something's not right. I'm probably just overthinking, I muttered, trying to steady my nerves. But a few days later, I noticed bruises on my arms and legs, bruises I couldn't explain. I hadn't bumped into anything, and it didn't make sense. Uneasy, I decided to run a blood test at my lab just to be safe. When the results came back, I was stunned. My blood showed high levels of warfarin, a powerful blood thinner. I hadn't taken anything like that. Panic rose in my chest as I realized someone was poisoning me. Isaac, we need to talk, I said, finding him in the living room. What is it now, Erica? He asked, sounding exasperated. There's warfarin in my blood. Someone's been poisoning me, I said, showing him the lab results. What? Who would do that? It doesn't make any sense, Isaac said, shaking his head, his expression a mix of confusion and disbelief. I don't know, I replied, my voice trembling, but I have a terrible feeling it's connected to what happened to your mom and Brittany's husband. Isaac frowned. Erica, you're starting to sound paranoid. I'm not paranoid. This is real, Isaac, I said firmly. We need to figure out who's behind this. As we spoke, Brittany strolled in, uninvited as usual. What's going on here? She asked, glancing between us. Erica thinks someone's been poisoning her, Isaac said, holding up the lab results. Poisoning. Brittany scoffed. That's ridiculous. She works in a lab. Maybe she took something by accident. I didn't take anything by accident, Brittany. This is serious, I said, glaring at her. Oh, please, you're always looking for drama. Maybe you should focus on your own problems instead of dragging everyone else into them, she said with a sneer. This isn't drama. It's my life, I shot back, my anger flaring. Erica, calm down, Isaac said, stepping between us. We need to think this through. Calm down. Your sister's accusing me of making this up, and you want me to calm down. I yelled, frustration boiling over. Erica, you're acting crazy. I can't keep doing this. We need a divorce, Isaac said, his voice flat and final. Divorce? Are you serious? You're going to believe her over me? I asked, the shock hitting me like a punch to the gut. Yes, Erica, you're always stirring things up. I can't take it anymore, he said, avoiding my gaze. Brittany's smirk said it all. She was relishing every second of my heartbreak. Feeling numb, I packed my things, the weight of betrayal and disbelief sinking in. Brittany stood by, triumphant, as I left the house. I rented a small apartment near work, determined to move on. But I couldn't let it go. I had to uncover the truth. The more I pieced things together, the clearer it became. Brittany was behind everything. She had poisoned her husband, her mother, and now she had tried to kill me. I hired a private detective named Jake to dig deeper. Jake, I need your help, I said, handing him the evidence. Lab results, medical records, and notes. I'm sure Brittany is behind this. Got it, Erica. I'll start right away. Give me 3 weeks, Jake said with a determined nod. 3 weeks later, Jake called. Erica, we need to meet. I found something. We met at a quiet cafe where Jake handed me a thick folder. His expression was grim. What did you find? I asked, my stomach churning. Brittany's in serious financial trouble. She burned through the money her husband left her and now has massive debts, Jake said. I flipped through the documents, my anger mounting. So she's been killing for money. First her husband, then her mom, and now she tried to kill me. It looks that way. She's desperate and dangerous, Jake confirmed. I decided to confront Isaac. I called him, my voice steady but firm. Isaac, it's Erica. Can we talk? What is this about? He asked, sounding weary. It's important. It's about Brittany, I replied. All right, come over, he said, a surprising warmth in his tone. When I arrived, Isaac greeted me with a smile that caught me off guard. Erica, I'm glad you came. You know, today's our anniversary, he said, holding up a bottle of wine. Isaac, we need to talk. This is serious, I said, trying to steady my voice. Let's hold off on that for a bit. Come on, let's have a drink. It's our anniversary, he insisted, pouring 2 glasses of wine. I hesitated but eventually relented. All right, just for a bit, then we talk. We clinked glasses and I took a sip, trying to calm my nerves. But soon, I started feeling dizzy and sick. Isaac, I feel awful. Where did you get this wine? I asked, gripping the table for support. Brittany brought it back from France. She said it's special. I've been drinking it for a while, he replied, his concern growing. Isaac, this wine is poisoned. Brittany's trying to kill you for the inheritance. Call 112 now, I managed to say before collapsing to the floor. As my vision blurred, I heard the door open and Brittany's voice cutting through the haze. What's going on here? She demanded. Erica says the wine's poisoned. She's really sick, Isaac said, panic in his voice. She's drunk and making up lies to turn you against me. Brittany snapped. I'll get a cold compress. As Isaac rushed to the kitchen, Brittany knelt beside me, her face twisting into a cruel smile. It's over for you, Erica. In a few hours, you'll die from internal bleeding. Then it'll be Isaac's turn and everything will be mine, she whispered. I tried to speak, but my body wouldn't respond. The last thing I heard was Isaac returning, his voice filled with worry. Then everything went dark. I woke up days later in a hospital bed, my body aching and my mind foggy. A nurse smiled warmly. You're awake. How are you feeling? Like I've been run over, I croaked, my throat dry. Your husband called for help just in time. Even though his sister tried to stop him, the nurse said, shaking her head. She's quite the piece of work, that one. Isaac had called for help, despite Brittany's interference. Relief flooded through me. Moments later, Jake walked in with a police officer. Erica, you did it, Jake said. You helped catch a dangerous criminal. The officer added, we exhumed the bodies of her husband and mother. The tests confirmed they were poisoned with warfarin, just like you. Justice had finally caught up with Brittany. Tears welled up in my eyes as I whispered, the same substance. Officer Nicholas nodded, his expression somber. Yes. The warfarin caused internal bleeding, leading to their deaths. The weight of his words crashed over me, and I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. Relief, sadness, and disbelief overwhelmed me, streaming down my face as the nightmare I'd been living finally began to feel real and tangible. Jake placed a comforting hand on my shoulder. Erica, you were incredibly brave to come forward. You've saved lives by exposing Brittany. As the nurse continued her checks, Jake and Officer Nicholas discussed the next steps in Brittany's case. Their voices blurred into the background as I lay there, staring at the ceiling. I felt an odd mix of relief and emptiness. Brittany had been stopped, but the scars she left on my body, my life, and my heart ran deep. When they were about to leave, Officer Nicholas looked at me with a steady gaze. Erica, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you, I said, my voice trembling with genuine gratitude. After the door closed, I leaned back into the pillows, letting the reality of the situation settle in. Brittany was finally out of the picture, but thinking about Isaac filled me with a deep sadness. Healing would take time, physically and emotionally, but at least now I had a chance to rebuild my life. The day of the trial was nerve-wracking. I sat in a courtroom, my heart pounding, knowing I'd have to face Brittany and recount everything she had done. Isaac was there too, seated a few rows ahead. His face was etched with doubt and confusion, as if he still couldn't fully believe his sister's guilt, even with all the evidence stacked against her. As we waited for the trial to begin, Isaac turned to me, his voice low and tense. Erica, I still can't wrap my head around this. It feels like you're just out for revenge. His words sliced through me like a blade. How could he defend her even now? How could he doubt me after everything? When the trial began, the prosecutor laid out the case in meticulous detail, presenting the damning evidence we gathered. My hands trembled as I was called to the stand to testify. Erica, the prosecutor began, his voice calm and steady. Can you tell us about your suspicions and the evidence you discovered? I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I started noticing strange symptoms after moving in with Isaac. His mother's health declined rapidly, and she had unexplained bruises. Later, I found the same symptoms in myself. The prosecutor nodded. And what did your investigation uncover? I hired a private detective, I said, my voice shaking. He discovered that Brittany was in serious financial trouble. She poisoned her husband and mother and tried to do the same to Isaac and me for the money. Did Brittany ever say anything to you that indicated her guilt? I hesitated, then spoke, my voice breaking. Yes, just before I collapsed, she told me it was over for me. She said Isaac was next, and that she wanted everything we had. The defense lawyer stood for cross-examination. Erica, she began with a sharp tone, isn't it true that you and Brittany never got along? Couldn't this be a personal grudge? No, I said firmly, meeting her gaze. This isn't personal. It's about stopping a killer. As the trial progressed, witness after witness testified. The evidence against Brittany mounted. Jake presented his findings and the medical examiner confirmed the presence of Warren in the exhumed bodies. Finally, Brittany took the stand. At first, she denied everything. But under the weight of the evidence and her own arrogance, she cracked. Yes, I did it, she sneered, her voice cold and unrepentant. I poisoned my husband, our mother. And I tried to poison you too, Erica. I wanted it all, the money, the property. And look at you now, Isaac, she added with a cruel laugh, crying like a baby. Isaac's face crumpled as tears streamed down his cheeks. Brittany, how could you? He whispered, his voice trembling with heartbreak. You were always so gullible, she spat. You never saw what was right in front of you. The judge banged the gavel, calling for order. Brittany was convicted of 2 counts of premeditated murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. As the guards led her away in handcuffs, her smug smile faded, replaced by the grim realization of her fate. The trial's conclusion brought a sense of justice, but the scars remained. Healing would be a long road. I made the difficult decision to divorce Isaac. There was too much pain, too much betrayal. Even though Brittany had manipulated him, I couldn't forget how he had doubted me over and over again. I moved into a small, cozy apartment and focused on rebuilding my life. Recovery was slow, but I began to find moments of peace. One day, as I sorted through old photos, memories flooded back, some happy, others too painful to dwell on. My phone buzzed with a message from Isaac. Erica, I know I've hurt you deeply. Can we please talk one last time? I stared at the screen, conflicted, before finally typing a response. Isaac, there's nothing left to say. We both need to move on. I wish you well, but this chapter is closed. Hitting send brought a strange mix of sadness and relief. In the evenings, I started painting, a way to express myself and let go of the past. I joined a book club, meeting new people and slowly building a new circle of friends. Every day was a step toward healing. The past would always be a part of me, but it no longer defined my future. Stronger and wiser, I was ready to embrace the life that lay ahead.